Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's Tuesday evening at 6:30 Central Standard Time. My name is Joshua Jack, and I'm excited to be here this evening with you. Tonight, we are beginning a brand new study of this book, Becoming a Person of Influence. So tonight, we're going to go over the intro and chapter 1, which is integrity with people. If you get anything out of this, be sure to comment about it. Let me know, because I'm always interested to hear how this is helping you in your life. And so yeah, use the comments. Let me know that you're watching. And if you are watching this, be sure to say hello. And if you're watching this in the future, if you wouldn't mind hashtagging replay, it lets me know that it's being watched. And it just, as I always say, it just makes me feel good. So, all right then. So this book is written by, hey, Justin, I appreciate you showing up. I thank you for spending your time with me. And I'm glad that you're here. Thank you. So this book is co-written with John Maxwell and a guy named Jim Dornan, and I believe that they're friends. I tried to do some research on this guy, and there's a lot of Jim Dornans out there. I couldn't figure out which one it was, so I didn't really spend a whole lot of time looking, though, to be honest with you. But I did go through the intro in chapter 1, so it's pretty good. So starting off, let's see. So we're all influencers, right? I mean, everybody that we're around, we have the ability to influence those around us just by a byproduct of us being us. You know, we're going to influence those people around us. And when, you know, in the introduction to this book, it talks about, you know, it has a list of several names, and I'm just going to read just a couple of them just because I'm not going to read all of them. Hey, Heather, I appreciate you showing up. Thank you for being here tonight. I hope you get something out of this. But there's a list of names here in the intro, and I'm just going to name a few. John Grisham, Robert E. Lee, Madonna. Let's see, who else? There's a whole list here. Mother Teresa, Tiger Woods, Alanis Morissette. This was written in the mid-'90s, by the way. Bill Clinton, Arnold Schwarzenegger. So what do these names have in common? Well, they're all influencers. They are people of influence. Influence doesn't come to us instantaneously. It grows by stages. And I find that to be true. You know, as we grow and our influence expands, you know, it's slow going, but it does expand for better or for worse. So you got to be careful with that. Everyone is an influencer of other people. And Ralph Waldo Emerson said, every man is a hero and an oracle to somebody. And to that person, whatever he says has an enhanced value. In your life, in any way connects with other people, you are an influencer. Kind of like we're leaders too, right? You know, a lot of people think leadership is just this, that's someone else. No, you are a leader right now. You are leading yourself. You are an influencer. You're influencing yourself. So just by the act of living, not only are you, but you are a leader and you're an influencer, because the first person you have to lead and influence is yourself. And then as you grow in that, then you start affecting those around you, whether it be your family, your kids, your friends, your coworkers. Think about it. It's true. All right. So everyone does have influence. Your influence is not equal with all people. Boy, isn't that the truth? There's sometimes you talk to some people and you know right away that whatever you're saying is not connecting with them. It's just like, pew, right? But on the other hand, we all know people we get around and we just say one thing and they're like, oh yeah, that's great. That's great. Thank you, Heather. She says, I have influence for sure. Well, thank you. Hopefully. So we can think about four or five people that we are around, and we can figure out if our words influence them or not, you know. And he talks about there's stages of influence, and there's impacts within those stages. And he references John's book, Developing the Leader Within You, and it visually looks like, and okay, the description of the 5 levels of leadership, which come from the Developing Leader Within You. It starts off with leadership. It starts off with position, permission, production, people development, and personhood. And that's kind of similar to becoming a person of influence. First you model, then you motivate, then you mentor, and then you multiply. And so when you start off at the bottom rung, which is model, you know, you got to learn it first before you can start motivating other people, and then you mentor other people, and then by mentoring, you multiply other people, right? So it's kind of cool because as you influence those around you, and you really have the possibility of not only affecting them, but you have the possibility of affecting their whole family tree from there on out. It's really kind of a very humbling thing to think about. So each level, let's talk about level modeling. I've already covered that a little bit. People are influenced by what they see. And, for those of you that have children, you know this. I mean, for those of you that what you say and do is often repeated by those that are around you. Am I right? So it's modeling. As the kids grow up, they're looking at you and they start modeling what you do. And that's the kind of the same thing that we do with other people that we want to grow into ourselves, whether it be business, leadership, influence, whatever. We learn and we try to model what they're doing because success does leave clues. And there's many different courses and books out there that you can go grab and you can kind of model what they're doing for yourself. And then over time, you grow in that. Kind of like what I'm doing with these books. I'm modeling these books, right? Okay, and then you can be a model to the masses, but to go to higher levels I can't even talk tonight. But to go to the higher levels of influence, you have to work with individuals. Yes, you do have to work with individuals. So level 2 is motivating. So number 1 is modeling. Number 2 is motivating. You become a motivational influencer when you encourage people and communicate with them on an emotional level. The process does 2 things. It creates a bridge between you and them, and it builds up their confidence and a sense of self-worth. We need a lot more of this in our lives. I mean, it's funny, when I first started doing a lot of the different things I've done, I've done a lot of different things, some of them not so successful, but when I got around other people that knew what they were doing and they spoke truths into me, they motivated me to learn more of the skills that I had inherently. So that was a mouthful. Let me say that again. When I got around people that knew what they were doing and their skill set was so far above mine, but they spoke truths into me that unlocked the potential in me to get my skill levels up to that point, right? Because before I didn't have the belief, right? I didn't have the belief I could do whatever it was I was doing until these people started talking to me that had no financial or reason to tell me, hey, Joshua, you're really good at this. You should continue or whatever. And then once I started believing it, my skill set got to that point. So it is so important because there are so many people around us that just need that kernel of truth spoken into their lives, and their lives are instantly changed from there on out. So first one is modeling. Number 2 is influencing those around us or motivating those around us. And number 3 is mentoring. Mentoring is pouring your life into other people and helping them reach their potential. And kind of going back to that, not only are you influencing them, but you're influencing their lives from there on out and their family tree from there on out. It's kind of, like I said, it's really humbling when you think about it. And then finally, level 4 is multiplying. As multiplying influencers, you help people influence you help people you're influencing to become positive influencers in the lives of others and pass on not only what they've received from you, but from what they've gleaned on their own. And obviously this takes time. As we know, there is always a positive and a negative to our influence. It can be good or bad. I mean, I remember growing up, when I was growing up, I got around a group of folks that probably wasn't very good. It was a bad influence. And then I moved and I got around new influencers, which was a better influence on me. And so you have to be careful in your own life about what kind of influence you're being influenced by, because sometimes we do get around people that kind of take us down the wrong path, right? All right. Even if you've had a negative effect on others in the past, you can turn that around and make your impact a positive one. And that's so true. I mean, I've gone back and there's been times in my life that I've not done good things, and I've gone back many years later at the fact and I've asked for forgiveness and apologized because on some level I knew I was wrong and it wasn't right. And once I did that, it just made all the difference in the world, not only in my life, and hopefully it did them too. I don't know. Anyway, baseball Jackie Robinson noted, a life isn't significant except for its impact on other lives. At the end of the day, I can't even talk. at the end of the day, I think this is really what life is all about, is how we influence those around us. I mean, because once we're gone, I mean, that's all that's left is the influence that we've had. The thing is, though, is most of the time, we recognize the influence we have on those who are closest to us for ill or good or bad. Yep. So there was a poem here written by someone that they don't know. It's anonymous. There's a lot of them out there. My life shall touch a dozen lives before this day is done. Leave countless marks for good or ill, ere sets the evening sun. This is the wish I always wish, the prayer I always pray. Lord, may my life help other lives it touches by the way. And I think, if we live our lives with that kind of mantra of helping people, man, not only are you helping them, but it's going to come back to you. I've talked about that analogy before. By throwing a stone in the water, it creates ripples that go out to the side of the pond or the pool or whatever. But by doing that, once that ripple hits the side of the wall, it ripples back to the point of origin. And I'm not saying you should do that for personal gain. I'm not saying you should go out of your way to help others because you're going to get something out of it. No, I'm saying you should do it, just be a good person. And that's the right thing to do. But by doing that, the byproduct of doing that, it's going to help you in a lot of ways. Positive influencers add value to other people. Yep, that's true. We can all add tremendous value to others. All right. So that was the intro. Okay. Larry Dobbs, who's the president and publisher of Dobbs Publishing Group, he said something very insightful. The only inheritance that a man will leave that has eternal value is his influence. That reminds me of a story, and it might be a story that might be better later on in chapter 1. But when I was a child, my dad took me to the side and he's like, Joshua, you only have one name. Are you going to make it a good one? And that had a profound impact on me as a child growing up. Because it's right. We all only have one name. What does it mean to those around us? Like whenever we walk into a room, what does your name mean to those people? And so I've always, ever since my dad told me that, I've always tried to make my name a good name because you only have one. All right. So that was the intro. Now let's go into chapter 1. Chapter 1. A person of influence has integrity with people. And in here, it has a story by this guy named Jim Dornan, who is the other author of this. And he talks about how he went overseas and he bought a bunch of clothes. And when he was coming back from overseas, he was going through the customs. And instead of just writing it off and just going, when you go through customs, you have to declare your items that you've bought overseas. And that can take time, right? So if you went and bought like food or if you bought different items, you'd have to declare it on your entry form. So that way our customs can make sure that nothing bad is entering the country or things of that nature. So he could have easily said he had nothing to declare because it was clothes, but he did anyway, because he just didn't feel right by not being a person of integrity. The reason why he wrote that and the reason why he said that is because one of the customs agents actually knew who he was. And although it was a pain in the rear for the customs agent, it was, in the long run, it was a good thing because it spoke volumes of Jim's integrity, which people in that business, really rely on a lot. Genuine integrity is not for sale. The need for integrity today is perhaps as great as it's ever been, and it's absolutely essential for anyone who desires to become a person of influence. And that kind of goes back to one of the other laws and invaluable laws of growth, where the first 6 months someone can trust what you say, but after 6 months, you better start living what you're preaching, because after 6 months the honeymoon's over, and if you're not living what you're preaching, it's going to come back and bite you. So that's why you need to be a person of integrity to be able to, because if you're living the life that you're speaking, well, your foundation is there, right? No one can shake that foundation. Stephen Covey, in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he writes, the importance of integrity to a person's success in this. If I try to use human influence strategies and tactics of how to get other people to do what I want, to work better, to be more motivated, to like me and each other, while my character is fundamentally flawed, marked by duplicity and insincerity, then in the long run, I cannot be successful. My duplicity will breed distrust, and everything I do, even using so-called good human relationship or relations techniques, will be perceived as manipulative. It simply makes no difference how good the rhetoric is or even how good the intentions are. If there is little or no trust, there is no foundation for permanent success. Only basic goodness gives life to technique. Wow, isn't that the truth, huh? I mean, we've all been around people that we know, there's a hook here somewhere. These people don't care about me. They're just trying to get my money, right? I've been there. But then again, we've been around other people that, man, they're really trying to help me out. They're like, hey, listen, you need to do this. And you're like, no, you need to do this. Oh, okay. And I believed them because they were integrity. I mean, they were living a life of integrity. Integrity is about the small things. Cheryl Beale points out, one of the realities of life is that if you can't trust a person at all points, you can't truly trust him or her at any points. That's true. You know, if you can't trust a person on one thing, it's going to breed into other aspects of their life or your relationship with them, and it's going to taint the whole thing. Integrity is the quality most needed to succeed in business. Yes, because if you mess up or if you don't follow through with what you say, it just makes you look bad, and then no one wants to do business with you because it will get out eventually. You might find success in the short run, but in the long run, you won't have the gas to make it to the destination that you want to go to. Webster's New Universal Unabridged Dictionary describes integrity as adherence to moral and ethical principles, soundness of moral character, honesty. Integrity commits itself to character over personal gain. And 19th century clergyman Philip Brooks maintains character is made in the small moments of our lives. I totally agree with that. I mean, you know, integrity is what you do when no one's watching. And like I said, if you're living it congruent with your life, man, you are living in such a strong foundation that when the winds come, it's not going to shake you. You're going to be able to sleep at night. You're going to be able to be solid in the foundation of who you are. But if you start not living a life of integrity, it's going to come back and get you. I mean, don't do it. Don't do it. Josh Whiston, Chairman and CEO of Automatic Data Processing, says, I have always tried to live with the following simple rule. Don't do what you wouldn't feel comfortable reading about in the newspaper the next day. And integrity is an inside job. So we've covered a lot, and we still got a little bit more to go. Number one, integrity is not determined by circumstances, right? Integrity is you. You own it. It's you. It's who you are. It's not just, oh, man, well, you can't rationalize to make things okay. If it's wrong, right? Your circumstances are as responsible for your character as a mirror is for your looks. That's pretty deep and cuts to the bone. So what you see only reflects what you are. And by the way, if you're getting something out of this, or if you want to have a conversation or you have a question, be sure to comment. I'll be more than happy to chat. Okay, so number one, integrity is not determined by circumstances. Number two, integrity is not based on credentials. Character comes from who we are, but some people would like to be judged not by who they are, but by the titles they've earned or the position they hold, regardless of the nature of their character. Wow, man. There's been many times and many people I've met in my life that, for good or ill, they believe that the position gave them the power, right? You know, integrity and leadership and all, I mean, honor and respect are earned. They're not given. And people that base their integrity on their credentials, that's like, I've been in law enforcement, and you know, I've had a badge, and and sadly, you know, there's some law enforcement officers out there that they they kind of have this credential thing, like, you know, they become badge heavy, like, you know, you'll respect me because I got a badge and you don't, and that's not good. That's never good. So anyway, it has two different. It has a column of credentials versus character, and it has a list versus. Credentials are transient. Character is permanent. Credentials turn the focus to rights. Character focuses or keeps the focus on responsibilities. Credentials add value to only one person. Character adds value to many people. Credentials look to past accomplishments. Character builds a legacy for the future. Credentials often evoke jealousy in others. Character generates respect and integrity. Credentials can only get you in the door. Character keeps you there. So that's pretty good. And number 3, integrity is not to be confused with reputation. William Hersey Davis says this about the difference between character and its shadow, reputation. And this is kind of lengthy, so bear with me. Yeah. The circumstances amid which you live determine your reputation. The truth you believe determines your character. Reputation is what you are supposed to be. Character is what you are. Reputation is the photograph. Character is the face. Reputation comes over one from within. Character grows up from within. Reputation comes over one from without. Character grows up from within. Reputation is what you have when you come to a new community. Character is what you have when you go away. Your reputation is made in the moment. Your character is built in a lifetime. Your reputation is learned in an hour. Your character does not come to light for a year. Reputation grows like a mushroom. Character lasts like eternity. Reputation makes you rich or makes you poor. Character makes you happy or makes you miserable. Man, that's some deep truths right there. Reputation is what men say about you on your tombstone. Character is what the angels say about you before the throne of God. Wow, how poignant. Very true. A good reputation is valuable. King Solomon of ancient Israel stated, "A good name is more desirable than great riches." And D.L. Moody wrote, if I take care of my character, my reputation will take care of itself. And that reminds me of the story that I told earlier about my dad taking me to the side and say, "Joshua, you only have one name. What kind of name are you going to make it?" And that really had a lot of influence on me growing up as a child. So these are questions you can help you measure your own integrity. And there's 10 questions here. How well do I treat people from whom I gain nothing? And that's true, right? I mean, how do you treat people? How do you treat the janitor at work? How do you treat the person behind the lunch counter that's ringing you up? Number 2, am I transparent with others? Number 3, do I role play based on the person I'm with? Number 4, am I the same person when I'm in the spotlight as I am when I'm alone? Number 5, do I quickly admit wrongdoing without being pressed to do so? Number 6, do I put others ahead of my personal agenda? Number 7, do I have an unchanging standard for moral decisions, or do circumstances determine my choices? Number 8, do I make difficult decisions even when they have a personal cost attached to them? And we have 2 more questions. Number 9, when I have something to say about people, do I talk to them or about them? Number 10, am I accountable to at least one other person for what I think, say, and do? And so these are questions we can ask ourselves to measure our own integrity. Sometimes it's good to ask ourselves these questions. And remember this, many succeed momentarily by what they know. Some succeed temporarily by what they do. But few succeed permanently by what they are. And obviously the road to integrity is not an easy one, but it's the only way to get to where you ultimately want to go. Integrity is your best friend. Writer Nathaniel Hawthorne, he had an insight that says, "No man can for any considerable time wear one face to himself and another to the multitude without finally getting bewildered as to which one is the true one." Abraham Lincoln once wrote, "When I lay down the reins of this administration, I want to have one friend left, and that friend is myself." At the end of the day, you only have you. And that's true. And if you can live with yourself, then that's the way to live. Integrity is your friend's best friend. And that's true too. I mean, it is your friend. And then the benefit of integrity is trust. When you have integrity, people will trust you. And if you don't, and without trust, you have nothing. You have nothing. Let's see. Character is made in the small moments of our lives. I already covered that. A guy named Philip Brooks. So people today are desperate for leaders, and they want to be influenced by people they can trust. And so in your own life, there are several things here that you can do to help you maintain or build integrity. Model consistency of character. We can find someone that has character and we can model them. Employ honest communication. Be honest with those around you. Value transparency. Exemplify humility. Demonstrate your support of others. Fulfill your promises. Embrace an attitude of service. Encourage two-way participation with the people you influence. Let's see. Just a couple more pages to go. The benefit of trust. Influence. President Dwight Eisenhower expressed his opinion on the subject. In order to be a leader, a man must have followers. And to have followers, a man must have their confidence. Hence, the supreme quality for a leader is unquestionably integrity. Without it, no real success is possible, no matter whether it is on a section gang, a football field, in the army, or in an office. If a man's associates find that he lacks forthright integrity, he will fail. His teachings and actions must square with each other. The first great need, therefore, is integrity and high purpose. So when people begin to trust you, your influence, your level of influence will increase. Abraham Lincoln says, nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. And so this is how we become a person of integrity. Commit yourself to honesty, reliability, and confidentiality. So, find out what your values are and live it. Decide ahead of time that you don't have a price. If you know that from the get-go, then whenever you're offered, you'll know to say no. Major in the minor things. Each day, do what you should do before what you want to do. If you know what you stand for and act accordingly, people can trust you. And that's basically integrity in a nutshell. So at the end of chapter 1, they have an influence checklist. And in this, it says, commit yourself to developing a strong character. Read the following statement and then sign the line below. I commit myself to being a person of character, truth, reliability, honesty, and confidentiality will be the pillars of my life. I will treat others as I expect to be treated. I will live according to the highest standards of integrity amid all of life's circumstances. And then the next check mark is do the little things. Make a note each time that you do any of the following: that you don't tell the whole truth, neglect to fulfill a commitment, whether it's promised or implied, leave an assignment uncompleted, talk about something that you might have been expected to keep in confidence. And then the last check mark is do what you should do before you do what you want to do. Right? There's always certain things that we want to do rather than what we need to do. So, all right. So that is the end of chapter 1. I hope you got a lot out of that. I enjoyed talking about it with you. Next week is chapter 2. A person of influence nurtures other people. And that is motivate, nurture. All right. That's exciting stuff. I liked it. Next, this Thursday, we are going to go over the final chapter in this book, which is the law of contribution. A lot of good stuff in this. I'm pretty excited. Let's see what else is coming up. Tomorrow night, I'll be doing my weekly rehash of Q&A and my thoughts, the different things I write about and what I was thinking when I wrote them. If you have any questions or comments, or if you want advice or whatever, contact me. We can talk about it. I'll do a Facebook Live on it. All right. It is Tuesday night. We're making it through the week. I hope you're having a great evening this evening. I hope you're having a great time of life in this season of your life. By the way, I am a life coach, and if you are going through some chaotic times, I can help you with that. I really can. So be sure to reach out. All right, guys, y'all have a great night. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and be intentional in your lives and be intentional with your family. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.